It was just after midnight when the signal arrived. The Sentinel Array, Earth's most advanced deep space listening post, sat quietly on the dark side of the moon. Dozens of satellites and antennas pointed toward the stars, always listening. Most of the time, it only heard the usual noise of space solar winds, distant stars, and old transmissions from forgotten probes. But that night, something different came through. A voice. It wasn't a machine voice. It wasn't a code. It was a soft, shaky voice that spoke in broken English. Please, help me. Is anyone human hearing this? I beg you. At first, the computers ignored it. Strange signals weren't rare. But one young technician, a man named Kieran, heard the voice and paused. His eyes widened. He replayed the signal. He wasn't imagining it. It was real. He immediately called his supervisor. Within an hour, world leaders were listening to the same strange voice. No one recognized the language at first, but the translator AI slowly broke it down. The message had been sent through an old interstellar frequency, something used by probes long ago. The voice repeated every 6 minutes. Please, this is Kalara, last of my kind. They are coming. You must not let them in. They take everything. Please, help. The world reacted fast. Military bases went on alert. Scientists gathered. News channels exploded with theories. Some thought it was a hoax. Others believed it was a warning. But one person, Dr. Alara Voss, believed it was real. Dr. Alara Voss was not a soldier or a pilot. She was a linguist, a specialist in alien signals and communication. She had worked with the United Global Space Council for over 10 years. She had studied strange languages, decoded ancient artifacts from Mars, and helped build Earth's first universal translator. When she heard Kalara's message, something in her heart stirred. She's not lying, Alara said during a council meeting. You can hear it in her voice. She's terrified. She's asking us for help. And we can't ignore that. Most of the leaders disagreed. Some thought it was a trap. Others said Earth should stay away from alien conflicts. But Alara stood up and said, if this is a warning and we do nothing, Earth may be next. That was enough. The council agreed to send one ship, quiet, fast, no weapons, a scout mission. Alara volunteered to go. The ship was called the Horizon Whisper. Small, fast, and built for long-range exploration. It had food, supplies, a medical unit, and one seat for a human pilot. Alara had trained for this, though she never expected to be called for something this serious. As the ship left Earth's orbit, she looked down one last time. The blue planet glowed peacefully below, unaware of what might be coming. The journey took 9 days. Alara spent her time reviewing Kalara's message over and over. She studied her voice, the patterns in her words. She even dreamed of her, this strange, frightened alien girl calling for help from the cold blackness of space. Finally, she reached the coordinates. They led to a red dwarf star. Surrounded by dust and broken rocks, one small moon floated near. The center, cracked and lifeless, that's where she found it, a small escape pod, barely functional, drifting slowly above the moon's surface. Scans showed a single life form inside, weak, but alive. Alara docked carefully. The pod's doors creaked open. The air inside was thin. Lights flickered, and then she saw her. Kalara. She was lying on the floor, barely breathing. Her skin was pale blue, smooth like glass, and her hair floated gently in zero gravity. Her eyes opened slightly when she saw Alara. They were large, silver, and filled with fear. Alara moved forward slowly. It's okay, she whispered. I'm here to help. My name is Alara. I'm from Earth. Kalara blinked, struggling to speak. Her voice was barely a whisper. They destroyed my world. They're coming for yours. Then she collapsed. Alara rushed her back to the Horizon Whisper. The ship's medical AI worked quickly, giving Kalara oxygen and stabilizing her condition. But something strange showed up in her scans. There was a small device implanted in her chest. It wasn't a weapon. It was a tracker, a beacon. Someone had been following her, and now they might know exactly where she was. Alara stared at the device. Removing it was risky, but leaving it meant danger for both of them and possibly Earth. "I'm sorry, Kalara," she whispered. "I have to do this with steady hands." Alara removed the beacon and dropped it into a containment box. Then she cut the ship's signal and went completely dark. No communications, no tracking, nothing. She was now off-grid. No one could find them, not Earth, and not whatever force had destroyed Kalara's world. Alone in the silent ship, Alara sat beside the sleeping alien girl. She didn't know what she had just stepped into. She didn't know who had destroyed Kalara's people or why. But one thing was clear. Kalara had risked everything to send a message to Earth, and now Alara had risked everything to answer it, and whatever happened next, the entire world would be watching. The stars outside the ship were calm, but inside the horizon whisper. Alara Voss felt anything but calm. Kalara, the alien girl, lay quietly in the medical bed. Her breathing was slow, her body still weak. The glowing blue light of the ship's monitors reflected off her pale skin. She looked peaceful now, but Alara knew it wouldn't last. Something terrible had happened to Kalara's world. And now, Earth might be next. Alara sat at the edge of the bed, watching Kalara closely. The alien girl had said only a few words. Before falling unconscious, "They're coming for your world." But who were they? And what did they want? Alara needed answers. But first, Kalara had to wake up. She spent the next few hours studying the tracker she had removed from Kalara's body. It wasn't just a simple device. It was advanced, far more advanced than Earth's technology. It had a tiny core of unknown energy, still blinking faintly. Alara placed it inside a sealed metal box and locked it in the ship's lowest storage unit. Then she turned off all outgoing signals. No distress calls, no location pings, nothing that could give them away. She was completely off the grid, now alone in space with an alien girl, far from home. 12 hours later, Kalara opened her eyes. At first, she looked confused, then frightened. Her body tensed, and her silver eyes darted around the room. But when she saw Alara, she slowly relaxed. "You came," she said weakly. "Yes," Alara replied softly. "You asked for help. I listened." Kalara tried to sit up, but her body was too weak. Alara gently helped her. "You speak English?" Alara asked. Kalara nodded. "Not perfect. Learned from birth signals, songs, news. Took yours. You said someone destroyed your world. Who were they?" Kalara's face turned pale, paler than before. Her hands trembled. "They call themselves the Pale Dominion," she whispered. "Cold ones, mind takers. They don't want planets. They want minds, knowledge, emotion, thought." Alara's stomach twisted. "They don't destroy cities," Kalara continued. "They destroy identity, memory, culture. When they came to my world, they promised peace. They gave us machines, knowledge. But then, they took everything." Kalara looked away. "My people are gone." Alara was quiet for a long moment. "How did you escape?" Kalara touched her chest, where the tracker had been. "I ran. Took a ship. They followed. That beacon, they always follow. I disabled it," Alara said. "We're hidden now." Kalara's eyes widened in shock. "You removed it? You risked your life?" "I wasn't going to let them find you," Alara replied. Kalara's voice shook. "Why? You don't even know me." Alara smiled faintly. "Because that's what we do. Humans help." Over the next days, Kalara slowly recovered. She told Alara more about the Pale Dominion. They were not one species, but a collective of many joined by a powerful artificial mind that controlled them all. They moved across the stars, absorbing civilizations like a virus. They didn't always use war. Sometimes they used trade, ideas, or promises of peace. But in the end, the result was always the same: silence, whole planets forgotten, whole cultures. Lara was horrified. "And you think Earth is next?" she asked. Kalara nodded. "They are curious about humans. You are different. You feel so much anger, love, fear, hope. They don't understand it, and that scares them." That night, Alara couldn't sleep. She stared at the stars outside, thinking of Earth, of all the people living their lives. Unaware of what might be coming, she had to warn them. But if she turned the ship back on, the Pale Dominion might find her first. The next morning, the ship's AI gave her more bad news. "Elara," it said, "a vessel has entered the edge of this star system. Unknown design, moving at slow speed, not transmitting signals." Elara ran to the controls. A small dot blinked on the screen, approaching slowly from the far side of the system. "Is it one of ours?" she asked. "Negative," the AI replied. "Design does not match any Earth ship." Elara came to the cockpit, her face pale. "That's them," she whispered. "That's Pale Dominion." "How did they find us?" Elara asked. Elara pointed at the tracker. "It might have sent one last ping before you disabled it." Elara cursed under her breath. "They had to leave dash now." She fired up the engines and changed course, heading toward a nearby asteroid field to hide. The Dominion ship followed, but slowly, almost like it wasn't in a hurry. "They don't need to rush," Elara said. "They already think we're trapped." Elara pushed. The horizon whispered deep into the asteroids, dodging rocks and staying low. The ship's stealth systems were good, but not perfect. Elara looked at her with wide eyes. "Why are you doing this? Why fight for me?" "Because you asked for help," Elara said. "And I believe you." Elara's lips trembled. "You're not like the others. Most species run. You protect." Elara gave her a small smile. "That's what makes us human." Deep in the asteroid field, the ship finally stopped. The Dominion vessel hovered far behind, unmoving. "They're waiting," Elara said. "For what?" Elara asked. Elara looked her in the eyes. "For me to give up. For you to hand me over. That's what they expect." Elara stood up. "Then let's do something they don't expect." Elara tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "We're going to show them what humans really are." Elara looked at her, confused and curious. Elara didn't have a plan yet, but she knew one thing: Earth couldn't stay quiet anymore. The Pale Dominion was real. And if they wanted to erase humanity, they'd learn what it meant to face someone who feels. Far away from Earth, hidden deep inside a cold asteroid field, the horizon whisper floated in silence. Its engines were off. Lights were dim. Nothing moved. Inside the ship, Elara Voss and Elara sat together in the command room, listening to nothing and waiting. The Pale Dominion ship still hadn't left. It hovered just beyond the asteroid field, like a hunter watching its prey. Elara stared at the glowing dot on her screen. It didn't move. It didn't scan. It just waited. It made her feel like an insect under a microscope. "They're playing with us," she whispered. Elara nodded slowly. "That's what they do. They wait until fear grows, until you break yourself." Elara turned to her. "Why not just attack?" "Because they don't want war," Elara said. "They want surrender. They want you to believe you have no chance." Elara leaned back in her seat. She hated this kind of enemy, quiet, cold, calculating. But fear wasn't something humans were strangers to, and it wasn't something they bowed to. The silence didn't last much longer. The horizon whisper's AI broke. The tension. New signal detected. Origin. Earth. Elara quickly opened the message. It was a secure communication from the United Global Space Council. They had seen the same Pale Dominion ship enter the edge of the solar system. Panic was spreading on Earth. Some governments were already preparing defense systems. Others wanted to negotiate. Some didn't believe the danger at all. But one line in the message stood out. "Return immediately. The Council wishes to question the alien passenger in person." Elara read the message over Elara's shoulder and grew pale. "They want to hand me over." Elara didn't answer right. Away. She could feel the pressure. She was just a linguist, not a soldier, not a leader. And now the entire planet wanted answers from her. She sent a short reply. "Not yet. She's not ready. And Earth isn't either." Then she shut off the channel. "We'll go back," Elara said finally. "But not just to answer questions. We need to prepare Earth. If they're coming, we need to show them what we've learned." Elara hesitated. "There's something I didn't tell you." Elara raised an eyebrow. "Go on." Elara stood slowly, her hands shaking slightly. "Before my world fell, my people created something. Not a weapon, not a bomb. A memory map. A memory map? Alara repeated. Lara nodded. It's a device. It holds the emotions of my people, their dreams, their fear, their love, everything we were. Before the Pale Dominion erased us, Alara sat forward. Why did you bring it? Lara looked her in the eyes. Because I believe your people can use it. Maybe you're the only ones who can. Later that night, Alara opened the container Lara had hidden in the pod. Inside was a small silver sphere, no bigger than an apple. It glowed faintly, but not like technology, more like a heartbeat. What does it do? Alara asked. Lara touched it gently. It connects. If placed in a network, it shares feelings. It sends who we were into any system, into any mind. It could confuse the Pale Dominion or change them. Alara was amazed. You're saying we can fight them with emotion? Lara nodded. It's the one thing they fear. Feeling, compassion, pain, joy, things they removed long ago. Alara felt something heavy settle on her chest, the weight of possibility and responsibility. If Earth could use this device, maybe they didn't need weapons. Maybe they didn't need war. Maybe they needed to remind the Pale Dominion what it meant to feel. The journey back to Earth was tense. The Pale Dominion ship did not follow them. It simply watched and then disappeared into the stars. But Alara knew they hadn't given up. They were watching, planning. Waiting. Back on Earth. The world was in chaos. News reports showed protests in major cities. People were afraid. Some blamed Lara. Some blamed Alara. But others, many others called them heroes. When Alara stepped off the landing platform in Geneva, hundreds of reporters tried to get close. Security blocked them off as she and Lara walked quickly toward the council building. Inside, the mood was cold. 12 members of the council sat behind a long table. All wore black suits and serious expressions. Cameras recorded everything. Lara stood close to Alara, silent and nervous. The questioning began. Why did you bring her here without permission? Did you know you were leading danger to our planet? What proof do you have that this dominion even exists? Alara stayed calm. Because she asked for help, and because she told the truth. She showed them the tracker. She showed them the logs. She showed them the memory sphere. But even then, some members didn't believe. Until a sudden alert broke the session. The sky above Earth had changed. A strange shape appeared in the sky high above orbit. It was a large, slow-moving object. Silent, no weapons, no threats, just watching. The Pale Dominion had arrived. People froze in fear. Cities fell quiet. Air traffic stopped. Even the council chamber went silent. Alara stood up slowly and looked at the screen. They're not attacking, she said. They want us to break first. A soft voice echoed beside her. No. Lara whispered. They want you to forget who you are. Alara turned to her. Then we remind them. The sky above Earth held the massive ship of the Pale Dominion like a silent threat. It was a ghostly white vessel, shining faintly against the blue sky. It moved slowly, as if it wanted the whole world to see it, but it did not attack. Millions of people stared up in fear and wonder. Governments scrambled to respond. Soldiers prepared weapons. Scientists studied the strange ship, but none knew what to expect. Inside the United Global Space Council, panic and arguments filled the room. Some leaders wanted to surrender, believing the Pale Dominion's offer of peace and knowledge. Others wanted to fight, convinced that this was the beginning of war. But Alara Voss stood quietly in a corner, watching the chaos. She knew better. They want us to be afraid, she said softly to Lara, who stood next to her. Lara nodded. They feed on fear. It makes their control stronger. Alara's mind raced. She had an idea, but it was dangerous. To fight a power like the Pale Dominion, Earth would need something different from weapons or armies. They would need unity, hope, and understanding at the same time across the planet. Something was happening. Small groups of people, scientists, soldiers, hackers, and even ordinary citizens began coming together. They shared secret messages and ideas. They called themselves the Spark. The Spark believed in humanity's strength, but also in its compassion. They did not want to fight with guns. They wanted to fight with something more powerful, a human spirit. Alara was invited to meet the Spark Dot in a hidden underground base. She met a group of determined people. There was Commander Jax, a former military leader, Maya, a brilliant hacker, Dr. Lin, a scientist studying alien tech, and several others. They all agreed on one thing: Earth needed to act. Alara shared Kalara's story in the memory map, the device that held the feelings and memories of Kalara's lost people. "We can use this," Alara said, "to reach the Pale Dominion, to remind them of what they have lost." The plan was bold. The Pale Dominion's power came from a vast network, a hive mind that connected their ships and minds across space. If the memory map could be uploaded into their network, it might spread feelings and memories that would confuse them. But the memory map was a physical device. It had to be placed inside a Dominion node, a central hub controlling their system. And there was only one place close enough: Mars. A Dominion structure had begun to grow in secret on the red planet. It was silent and still unknown to most of Earth. The Spark prepared a mission. Alara, Kalara, and a team from the Spark would travel to Mars. They would land near the Dominion structure, infiltrate it, and upload the memory map. It was risky. If they were caught, it could mean the end of Earth, but they believed in their mission. The day of the launch arrived. Alara stood before the small ship, looking at her team. "Whatever happens," she said, "we fight for Earth. We fight for hope." Kalara touched Alara's hand gently. "Thank you for believing in me." Alara smiled. "Thank you for trusting us." The journey to Mars was tense and quiet. The Dominion ship remained near Earth, watching. But on Mars, the structure was more terrifying than they expected. It was huge, tall towers of shining metal, covered in strange symbols that pulsed faintly. Inside, the air was cold and still. Alara and the team moved carefully through dark corridors, avoiding machines and sensors. Kalara led them with quiet confidence. "This place holds their mind," she whispered. "If we fail, all will be lost." Finally, they reached the core, a large chamber filled with glowing crystals and computers. Alara connected the memory map to the system. At first, nothing happened. Then the crystals began to pulse with light. The air seemed to hum. Suddenly, images and sounds filled the chamber, memories of Kalara's people. Their songs, their laughter, their pain. It was overwhelming. But the Dominion noticed. Alarms blared. Machines moved toward them. The team fought back, using technology and quick thinking. Kalara raised her hand. A wave of light and emotion spread through the room. The memory map was working. The hive mind was being flooded with feelings it had never known. Confusion spread across the Dominion system. Outside, on Mars, the structure began to collapse. The shining towers cracked and fell. Alara and the team escaped just in time. As they flew away, they watched the Dominion structure burn. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Back on Earth, news of the mission inspired millions. The Spark grew stronger. People saw that humanity's greatest power was not weapons but their spirit. Alara and Kalara stood before a crowd. "We did not fight with fear," Alara said. "We fought with hope, with love, with unity." Kalara smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. "You gave my people a future." The Pale Dominion had been shaken. Their cold empire faced a new enemy, the human heart. And Earth was ready. The red dust of Mars swirled softly in the thin atmosphere as the small ship carrying Alara, Kalara, and the Spark crew descended toward the surface. Below them stretched the enormous Dominion structure, a dark monolith of metal and strange technology, humming quietly with an eerie life. Alara gripped the edge of her seat, eyes fixed on the looming shape. "This is it," she whispered. "We don't have much time." Kalara nodded, her silver eyes steady. "If we fail, the Pale Dominion's reach will spread to Earth and beyond." The ship touched down with a soft thud. Outside, the landscape was barren, silent. The ground cracked beneath their boots as the team stepped out, their suits shielding them from the thin, cold air. Commander Jax led the way, followed by Maya and Dr. Lin. Their mission was clear: infiltrate the Dominion node and plant the memory Map the device holding the lost emotions and memories of Kalara's people. The entrance was guarded by strange sensors, but Maya hacked their system with nimble fingers. Got it, she whispered as the doors hissed open. Inside, the air was cold and still. The corridors gleamed with metal, lined with glowing symbols that pulsed faintly. Kalara's heart quickened. This place, she breathed. It's like the mind of the Pale Dominion itself. As they moved deeper, they encountered no guards. It was unnerving. Too quiet, Jax muttered. They're waiting. The team reached the central chamber, a vast hall filled with towering crystal structures. Glowing softly, in the center stood a console, pulsing with light. Alara stepped forward, carrying the memory map. This is where we upload it, she said. Kalara touched the console. It will flood their network with our feelings, love, hope, pain, everything. They tried to erase. Alara connected the device. A soft hum filled the room. The crystals brightened out suddenly. Images flashed, laughter of Kalara's people. The colors of their world, songs of joy and sorrow. The memories poured into the chamber like a river. But then alarms blared. Mechanical sentries emerged from hidden doors, their movements cold and precise. The Dominion was not asleep. They were attacking. The team fought fiercely. Maya disabled security bots with quick hacks. Jax used a stun rifle to block incoming threats. Dr. Lin kept the memory map active. While Alara and Kalara defended her, Kalara raised her hand. A wave of light pulsed from her palm, disorienting the sentries. This is working, Alara gasped. The memory map's energy spread through the chamber, flooding the Dominion network. It sent shockwaves through their hive mind, stirring feelings they had long suppressed. Outside, the structure trembled. Cracks spread across the walls. The glowing symbols flickered and died. Alara grabbed Kalara's hand. We need to get out. The team rushed back through the corridors as the building shook violently. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling. The ship's engines roared as they lifted off just in time to see the Dominion node collapse. In a shower of sparks and dust, breathing hard, Alara looked at Kalara. We did it, Kalara smiled weakly. Not just us, humanity, back on Earth. News of the mission spread like wildfire. People cheered, proud that their species had fought without violence, using compassion and courage. But the Pale Dominion was not defeated yet. Somewhere in the stars, the cold empire reeled from the unexpected attack. They were silent for now. Alara knew this was only the beginning. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon in the dark, and the human spirit was shining brighter than ever. The silence after the collapse of the Dominion node on Mars was heavy. For days, Earth waited and watched, the massive Pale Dominion ship still hanging near the edge of the solar system, like a shadow refusing to leave. But then, something unexpected happened. Signals began to change. At first, it was faint, a soft ripple in the network the scientists called the Dominion hive mind. Then the ripple grew stronger. Strange messages started coming in. Voices, not cold, mechanical commands like before, but voices filled with confusion and questions. Who are we? One signal asked. What is this feeling? Another whispered. The Pale Dominion was breaking apart from inside. Back on Earth, Alara stood with Kalara before the United Global Space Council. The mood was different now. Hope replaced fear. The council members watched a live feed from space. The huge Dominion ship, once cold and silent, now emitted soft glows of color. Patterns flowed across its surface, colors that looked like emotions. Kalara stepped forward, her silver eyes shining with tears. The memory map did not destroy them. It changed them. Alara nodded. They have never known feelings like ours. Now, they are learning. One of the council leaders asked, what happens next? Kalara smiled gently. They will ask for help. They will seek understanding. They are not enemies anymore. They are becoming something new. The room was silent for a moment. Then applause broke out. Across the world, people celebrated. News anchors spoke of a new era where humans stood not just as survivors, but as teachers and healers. Alara and Kalara became symbols of hope. Their story was told again and again. how a frightened alien girl's plea reached a human heart, and how humanity answered with courage and compassion. But the true victory was not just in their mission. It was in what they showed the galaxy that even in the darkest times, kindness can change everything. In the following weeks, the transformed Pale Dominion ships began sending envoys to Earth. These were no longer cold soldiers, but curious explorers. They came seeking friendship and knowledge. Alara helped lead the talks. She looked at Kaelara and smiled. "You saved more than your world. You saved ours too." Kaelara nodded. "You taught them to feel. And that is the greatest gift." One night, Alara stood outside the space center, looking up at the stars. The sky was full of new possibilities. She whispered, "We didn't just survive. We became a light for others, and somewhere in the stars, a new future was beginning, one where humanity's spirit shone brightest of all."